Hi guys, welcome to the 11 Plus English practice questions video. In this video I'm going to give you some sample questions as well as provide you some real top tips that I think you should consider for passing the 11 Plus assessment. Okay, so the 11 Plus test. So in primary school, when children are about to leave their final year, they may opt to take the 11 Plus. So this test is given to pupils who want to attend a grammar secondary school. Some teachers may encourage pupils to take the test just to give them the opportunity of attending a grammar school if they wish to choose this option. So generally, most pupils will be at the age of 10 when they take this assessment. So the test can contain up to 4 disciplines, including maths, English, verbal reasoning and non-verbal reasoning. And I do have other videos regarding each of these sections, so make sure that you check these out after you watch this video, okay? So here are a few 11 Plus tips that I think will really help you and your child undertake the 11 Plus assessment in an effective and the best possible manner. Okay, so allow for plenty of study breaks, so even if they're 5 or 10 minutes long. So this will really help to refresh the memory and keep your child calm and focused. So remember, keep in mind a child's attention rate is usually between 30 to 50 minutes, okay? So don't try and get your child to revise any longer than that because it just simply won't work. So active revision is a great way to stay interactive with the topic. So revision games and mock tests are a great exam technique to use to prepare for the 11 Plus. Stick a piece of paper up on the fridge highlighting all of the areas you wish to cover with your child. Visual aids are another great way to take in lots of information. So mind maps, spider diagrams, flashcards or posters should all be used in preparation for the 11 Plus. So if you want to better your English comprehension, we will also recommend that you spend some time practicing questions relating to verbal ability. And verbal reasoning is a section that's going to be assessed on the 11 Plus, okay? So it will really help in both your English and your verbal assessments. So this will allow you to engage with words, sentences and comprehension, which will ultimately test the same skills required for the English assessment. So brush up on your vocabulary. So these types of tests are designed to assess your English and vocabulary skills. So therefore you need to be able to demonstrate a strong level of ability regarding words, phrases and meanings. Do not rely upon memory. So once you read the question, go back through the passage, okay? So don't rely on your initial reading of the passage. So you will have some indication of where the answer is referred to in the passage. So go back through and read that section again just to make sure that you are clear of what the question is asking you. Remember to check out our free online psychometric testing. Remember the word is free, okay? So you can get a load of sample questions and make sure that you're fully prepared for your English assessment. So you can click that link I've given you there and you can download some free online psychometric testing. So here is some practice questions to help get you going, okay? So complete the following sentence. So Lucy, space, her homework and space, watch TV. So this is a typical English question and it relies on you to fill in the blanks. Okay, so here are your answer options. So you have to choose which answer option best fits the sentence, okay? And the best way to do this is to read the sentence out loud, okay? And you can eliminate the answers you know to be incorrect, okay? So let's start with the first one. So Lucy finished her homework and decided to watch TV. Well, you know it can't be that one because decided to watched doesn't make sense, okay? So we can automatically eliminate that one. So let's try answer option B. So Lucy completed her homework and went to watch TV. Again, that doesn't make sense. Lucy started her homework and whilst watched TV. Again, that doesn't make sense. So your answer should be Lucy finished her homework and then watched TV. That does make sense, but let's just clarify that's the right answer by eliminating this answer. So Lucy didn't her homework. Well, again, that doesn't make sense. So you know, in fact, that the answer is D. So like I said, eliminate the answers you know to be incorrect because this will really save you time in the exam. read the sentence out loud and see if it sounds correct. Of course, you can't read them out loud in an exam, but you can read them out in your head, okay? So just make sure that you understand which words work consistently within the sentence. So practice question 2. So determine whether the following sentences are written in past, present or future tenses. So this question is all about different tenses you can use for writing sentences. So I will get up in the morning. I am eating my dinner. Sammy is going for a run this afternoon. Elliot went swimming. So the best way to understand which tense is being used is to highlight the key word that tells you whether it's in past, present or future. So let's have a look at the first one. So I will means that it hasn't happened yet, okay? So this is in future tense, okay, because it's going to happen. I will do something. It's not happening now because it would say I am or I have. Okay, so that's future tense. So I am eating my dinner. So this hasn't happened yet, but it's not happened in the future. It's happening right now, okay? So I am. So that is present tense. It's happening at this very minute. Sammy is going for a run this afternoon. So the fact that she's going to go for a run in the afternoon suggests it's not happened yet and it's not happening now. So it suggests that it's going to happen in the future. Elliot went swimming, so it's already happened. So therefore, this is written in past tense, okay? So just make sure when you try and work out the questions, has the action happened yet? Is it about to happen? Or is it happening right now? So practice question 3. So write out the following sentence using the correct spelling and punctuation. So this is a real crucial question regarding grammar and punctuation. So it was a nightmare, said Kate, who was still in shock. So the first thing you need to look at is that here should have a capital letter because you should know that all sentences begin with a capital letter. So we can add that in, and obviously we can add in the full stop at the end because you know all sentences end with a full stop. This is being said, okay? So it was a nightmare, said Kate. So this will need to be written in quotation marks. And generally, if it's a quotation and then it says who it's by, there will be a comma written inside the closing quotation mark, okay? So it was a nightmare, said Kate, who was still in shock. So again, you would add a comma after Kate because this is providing extra piece of information. So remember, full stops, capital letters, quotation marks, commas, anything could be missing. So you need to look at the sentence several times and see how you can break it up. So practice question 4. So choose a word that relates to both sets of words in the brackets. So we got rest and interval in the first bracket and damage and smash in the second. And here are your answer options. So we've got drop, wait, blow or break. So the idea is that one of these words can relate to both of these sets of brackets. So remember, some words have multiple meanings and therefore can be used in different contexts. So taking a break can mean having a rest or interval, or to break something, you could damage something or it's been smashed, okay? So your answer would be D because it can relate to both sets of brackets. Practice question 5. So which word does not have a similar meaning to atrocious? So you need to understand different words and their meanings. So atrocious means horrifyingly wicked or of very poor quality. So here are your answer options. So wicked, ruthless, cruel or admirable. So this question is asking which word does not have a similar meaning. So you should be able to realise quite quickly that the answer is in fact D because wicked, ruthless and cruel all have the same connotations as atrocious, whereas admirable is something a bit more positive and therefore is opposite to this meaning. Practice question 6. So complete these words by adding the prefixes pro or pre. So we've got these sets of words. So your job is to add pro or pre to the word in order to make a full word that actually makes sense. So let's have a look. So premature or premature. So you know that that's going to be pre. Proactive or preactive. So you should know that that's going to be proactive. Prologue or prelogue. You know that should be prologue. Prodominant or predominant. It will be predominant. Proserve or preserve would be preserve. Prospect or prespect, it would be pro. Prolong or prelong would be pro. And pronounce or prenounce, again, that would be pro. Okay, so it's all about understanding how different sets of prefixes can be used in front of other words to make one word that's actually correct. Practice question 7. So if the following words were arranged in alphabetical order, which word would come first? So we've got astounding, abysmal, agitate, aghast, apocryphal. So they all begin with the letter A, so you need to look at the second letter. Remember, so you're working out, if you put them in alphabetical order, which word would come first, okay? So having a good knowledge of the alphabet will really help you with questions like these. And you can eliminate the answers you know to be incorrect, okay? So let's have a look. So the first answer option is astounding. So the second letter is S. So let's work along here and see if any letters come before S. So we've got B. So we obviously can rule this out now because this is going to become first in our list. So let's compare this to our next one. So we've got AG or AB. So this is still our answer at the moment. AB or AG, again, this is still our answer. Or AB or AP, again, our answer is going to be B because these are the first two letters that would come in sequence of the alphabet. Practice question 8. So, flight A outbound leaves at 8 a.m. and arrives at 1 p.m. The cost of the flight is £69, but this does not include a meal or refreshments. The return flight departs at 3 a.m. and arrives at its destination at 8 a.m. Flight B outbound leaves at 3 p.m. and arrives at 8 p.m. The cost of the flight is £97 and this includes a meal and refreshments. The return flight departs at 1 p.m. and arrives at its destination at 5 p.m. Flight C outbound leaves at 4 p.m. and arrives at 10 p.m. The cost of the flight is £70, but this does not include a meal or refreshments. The return flight departs at 10 a.m. and arrives at its destination at 4 p.m. Flight D outbound leaves at midnight and arrives at 3 a.m. The cost of the flight is £105, which does include a meal and refreshments. The return flight departs at 3 p.m. and arrives at its destination at 6 p.m. Flight E outbound leaves at 5 a.m. and arrives at 12 noon. The cost of the flight is £39 but includes a meal and refreshments. The return flight departs at 5 p.m. and arrives at its destination at midnight. So your question is, you want a flight where the outbound flight arrives before 2 p.m. You don't want to pay any more than £50. Which flight can you get on? So this is a process of elimination, okay? So you need to take each part of the instructions and you need to eliminate the answers that you can completely rule out. Okay, so you don't want to pay any more than £50, okay? So let's rule out some of these. So flight A was going to cost £69, so you can't get on that one. £97, you can't use flight B. £70, you can't use flight C. Flight D, you can't use that one. So we've automatically ruled out 4 of the 5 answers. So it should be flight E. But let's just double check. You want a flight where the outbound flight arrives before 2 p.m. Well, it arrives at 12 noon. So your answer is flight E. Flat A is located in a town. It is 9 miles from the nearest train station. It has 2 bedrooms and is located on the ground floor. The monthly rental is £450 and the council tax is £50 per month. The lease is for 6 months. Flat B is located in the city centre and is 2 miles from the nearest train station. It's located on the 3rd floor. Monthly rental £600 and the council tax £130 per month. The lease is for 6 months and has 3 bedrooms. Flat C is located in the city centre and is 3 miles from the nearest train station. It's located on the first floor, has 1 bedroom. The monthly rental is £550, council tax is £100 per month. The lease is for 12 months. Flat D is located in a town. Monthly rental is £395 per month and the council tax is £100 per month. Located on the ground floor and the lease is for 6 months. 18 miles from the nearest train station and has 2 bedrooms. Flat E is located in a village and is 12 miles from the nearest train station. It has 3 bedrooms and is located on the second floor. The monthly rental is £375 and the council tax is £62 per month. It has a lease for 12 months. So you want a flat that's within 10 miles of the nearest train station and is located on the first floor or lower. The combined monthly rent council tax bill must be no greater than £600. Which flat could you get? Okay, so let's work with the first statement. So you want a flat that's within 10 miles of the nearest train station. So you could get flat A because it's within 9 miles of the train station, so that's a possibility. Flat B is a possibility again because that's 2 miles. Flat C is 3 miles. Flat D is 18 miles, so we can automatically rule out flat D. And flat E can be ruled out because it's 12 miles. So we're automatically working with A, B or C. So we know one of these is going to be our answer. So it's located on the first floor or lower. Okay. So this flat A is located on the ground floor. So again, this is still a possibility. Flat B is located on the third floor. So we can rule this one out now because it's on the third floor and we need something on the first floor or lower. So let's go to our final answer option is located on the first floor, so this could be a possibility. So now we've eliminated it to A or C. So the combined monthly rent and council tax bill must be no greater than £600. So for flat A, so £450 plus £50 is £500. So that is still a possibility. Let's double check. Flat C is £550 plus £100, so that would be £650. So we can now rule out flat C. And the answer will be flat A. Practice question 10. So it's been 11 months and 14 days since my carefully constructed world came crashing down into 1,000 little pieces. My life was torn to merciless shreds, just like the car that my mother and I were in. Little did I know how one moment can change a life forever. I thought that I had so much time to make memories with the one person that I relied upon most. I have been forlorn and melancholy for almost a year now, and I am struggling to grasp the concept of it gets easier with time. That to me seems unimaginable. I remember the sharp sounds of the brakes. I remember the moment our car collided with a patch of glistening ice that covered the country roads. I try to recall the impact, but my mind goes blank. It's like a hole in my memory. My life is in 1,000 jigsaw pieces which I cannot piece back together. I saw nothing, only an expanse of darkness. I wait to the loud voices of people who seemed to be in close proximity, but was unable to touch them. I opened my eyes to see police, paramedics, all hovering around the car, trying to open the doors and assist us. My life was torn to merciless shreds, just like the car that my mother and I were in, which is on line 2 and 3. What literary technique is used in this sentence? Okay, so this question is relying on your ability to decipher what kind of technique is being used. So your answer options are metaphor, paradox, juxtaposition, or a simile. So my life was torn to merciless shreds, just like the car that my mother and I were in. So the use of the word like demonstrates that the answer is a simile, okay? Because similes use the words like or as to compare one thing to something else. So just make sure that you have a good understanding of different literary techniques because you will be required to show some basic knowledge of each of these. So that completes it for this video. For more practice questions, please click on the link below. And if you do have any questions regarding the 11 Plus assessment or any other types of assessments that you have upcoming, please drop me a message below and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. It is free and there's lots more 11 Plus videos on our careers page. So have a look at that and please feel free to check out my other 11 Plus videos for verbal reasoning, non-verbal reasoning and maths. Thank you for watching again. I hope this has helped. and I wish you all the very best of luck.